I'll give you a 30-second story that tells you everything you need to know about Milius. You guys have probably met him and know anyway, but
I haven't.
Oh, we haven't met
I've
him.
seen so many interviews with him and
Big
admire the
fans,
man's
though.
work so much.
oh, he's unreal. And I mean, what's really sad to me is the movies he did not get a chance to make seem to be like the best ideas. Were that was what was around his office. These things that the studio thought was too expensive, he was out of favor to do. Those were like the greatest movies you'd hope to see. But the assistant at Bel Air Productions, Building 90 at Warner Brothers for Steve Ruther, the receptionist, knew I worked for Milius at night and goes, "You got to introduce me to him. I love all his movies. You got to introduce me to him." And after like a few days of nagging, I'm like, all right, come on. We'll go over there on our lunch break. We'll take a late lunch and he'll be in there around 4. And you could always tell Milius's office because it had the sticker Property of the Hells Angels on the door. So I knock on the door and no one's answering. And I knock again and I'm like, okay, they're not here yet. But all of a sudden the door cracks open and it's Milius's assistant, Leonard. And he sees it's me and he opens it up. He's like, "Ethan, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Well, this is a guy I work with over at Bel Air Productions, not the neighborhood. He wants to meet John." And Milius was always good about that. You could just knock on his door and say you wanted to talk or meet him. And if he had time, you'd sit on his couch. He loved to talk. So if you guys were in that building, you'd probably have dozens and dozens of conversations with him.
I wish we were.
So, yeah. So, and this is funny because it was like, we get rushed in and the door slammed behind us and they're putting together a sniper's rifle on his desk from like FedExed gun parts that when the days when you could do that. And this receptionist like starts to panic, but Milius detects that this guy's on edge. So he doesn't stop working on the gun. And I was like, "John, this guy wanted to meet you real quick. And I understand there's some theatrics here, but this guy doesn't know." So I'm like, "This guy wants to meet you." And John's like cranking on the scope. He's like, "Yeah, how you doing?" And he goes back to working on the gun. And he's like, "Well, he's getting visibly nervous." He's like, "I just wanted to say I'm a big fan of your work." And then he throws the gun to his assistant, Leonard. He's like, "Leonard, test out that scope." Leonard pushes open the window, which overlooks Olive Boulevard, and starts sticking the gun out and like starts following traffic, like cars. And they're like talking in there. He's like, and then Milius is like, "I wonder if those SOG guys have any of those armor-piercing rounds. It'd be nice to get our hands on some of that because I think those are illegal in the state of California, aren't they?" And this guy's like literally trembling. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, I get it, right? They're just putting on a show for this dude. And so anyway, we start walking out and Milius goes, "Hey, nice to meet you. And Ethan, go ahead and give your friend the warning. We expect all your friends to know." And I'm out in the hallway and this guy goes, "Wow, that was really interesting. What did he mean when he said warning?" And I said, "Well, if you tell anyone about what you witnessed in there, he'll kill you." And it's like, that's like my part of the act, but it's like, obviously the whole thing is a put on, but that's how he was. Like so much of it was just for like your theatrical enjoyment. He knew he was kind of a character in your Milius movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kind of like what Gary Busey does to an obnoxious level, Milius would do at just the right level for you.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.